Billionaire Cowboy. Weston Hale had seen enough storms in the Montana mountains to know which ones meant trouble, and the one roaring across the ridge that night was the kind that swallowed people whole. Snow came sideways, the wind howled like a starving wolf, and the world turned white, except for the faint beam of his horse's lantern cutting through the chaos. He'd only come out to check the cattle fences, but fate had other plans. A faint cry cracked through the wind, a sound so desperate and thin it barely reached him, but it tugged something ancient inside his chest. He turned his horse, urging it toward the sound, until the silhouette of a woman emerged, half collapsed in the snow, frozen fingers gripping a torn bag as if clinging to the last piece of her old life. Weston jumped from the saddle, scooping her into his arms. She weighed almost nothing, her lips blue, her breath barely there. "Stay with me, darling," he muttered, wrapping his coat around her as he mounted the horse again. "Ain't losing anyone tonight. This ride back to his mountain cabin felt like riding against the end of the world, but he pushed through with the stubbornness that made him a billionaire ranch owner in the first place. When he kicked the cabin door open, heat and firelight washed over them. He laid her near the hearth, rubbing her hands, forcing warmth back into her frozen limbs. Slowly her eyes opened, brown, soft, trembling with confusion, and she whispered, "Where am I?" "Safe," Weston said, his voice rough yet tender. "You're in my cabin, sweetheart. Storm would have taken you if I hadn't found you." She blinked, tears catching the firelight. Her name was Ilara Shaw, a schoolteacher from the small town below, stranded when her car slid off the road during the storm. She'd been walking for hours through hellish winds, thinking she'd die out there, but now she was wrapped in a heavy blanket, fire crackling near her feet, and the rugged cowboy watching over her looked like salvation, carved from stone. Weston brewed her tea, cooked her soup, covered her in another blanket, refusing to leave her side. She noticed how his rough hands shook slightly. Something about rescuing her had shaken even a man as unbreakable as him. As the storm thickened outside, Weston lit another lantern, his face softening in ways he didn't let people see. "You scared me," he whispered. "Thought I'd lose you. Before I even knew your name." Ilara felt warmth she hadn't felt in years, not just from the fire, but from the way he looked at her, like she mattered more than the blizzard outside. Hours passed. Stories were shared. Pain from their pasts rose like ghosts. His heartbreak from a fiancé who left because ranch life wasn't luxurious enough. Her loneliness as a teacher who poured into children but had no one waiting at home. By midnight they felt strangely bound, not by time, but by the storm that had forced their souls into the same room. When thunder shook the cabin and the